Hi, today I'm going to take you on a quick tour on what I like to call my interactive text with annotated questions. I created this Google Doc for Tim O'Brien's short story on the Rainy River. This particular format addresses a few needs for the students. Number one is historical context. We also have setting and a short biography of the author. There's actually an activity built right into and linked into the story. There's a series of annotated questions, as you can see in the right-hand column, that go along with this story and actually have the highlighted text they correspond to right next to them. But let's just start right away, right on the top, on the Rainy River. Several students asked me, is the Rainy River a real place? Well, luckily I had this link right here, which will take you right to Google Maps. If you go ahead and click on that satellite view, the students can actually get an image of what the Rainy River looks like. And we actually see the river there on the northern border of Minnesota and Canada. Also, there's a link to the author's bio, just a short bio, letting him know that this author actually did spend time in Vietnam himself, and that his main character is named after himself. And I've also linked a digital scale right into the story. So before we even start, the story was trying to examine symbols. The students can tell me where they feel they are on this scale. And I'll deliver the scale again to them at the end of the reading to see if their understanding has grown. I also have the link right to the audio. You click on this link, and the students that may have trouble reading and comprehending, that they can have the audio link as well and follow along with text listening to someone read it to them. Built in along the way, you see a number of links, mostly for historical context. For example, the Lone Ranger is alluded to in the story by the narrator, and many of these students not having been born, even when this show was still on the air, will have no idea. So they take a quick click there. And that's just a short 30-second clip. Give them a visual of who the Lone Ranger was, and so they know that it's an allusion to a television show. Again, we have several links to historical context videos throughout the story. Things like the Gulf of Tonkin or CETO, things that they might not understand or have that prior knowledge or schema. This video is taking a minute to load here. Here we go. And again, what's cool about these links is YouTube pulls up a whole bunch of other videos as well. So if they're really interested in that topic, they can still do some exploring on their own. The first thing you'll notice on the right with the annotated questions, I like to start off with a prior knowledge question or a schema question. It's just really simple. What do you already know about the war in Vietnam? Maybe one question they might have about it that they could answer as we continue reading. Also, there's a bit of written historical context as well. As you scroll down, you notice you have some images embedded right into the story as well. These are actual draft cards from the Vietnam era. This is what young men would receive in the mail. Again, another map link. CO status, if they don't know what that means. Again, they can click on this link and it will specifically tell them all about conscientious objectors and how to qualify. And it corresponds right to question number 4. How many methods of avoiding going to Vietnam are mentioned in this paragraph? And then we have another nice link right to a video on the History Channel that actually shows methods that young men use to dodge the draft. We'll skip that one though because I'm fairly certain it will play an ad before it gets to the video. And again, we continue with the questions on the right, some more historical context dropped in here if they care to read. Also another link showing them an image of the city being mentioned. Another link to a map. Another short video. And as you can see, the questions continue on the right with the numbers highlighted in the text for them to go back and take a look at. And we finally get to the end, and we have a few questions here at the bottom that connect it to modern context and really makes this question of being drafted real to them today. And we generally save these as discussion questions for the end. If we scroll back up, I want to show you guys as well one more thing, the activity that I have embedded right into the story. The students click this link and it takes them right to a short activity that we do in class together. It shows them the actual 1970 sequence draft lottery. So they were able to take their birthday, take a look on this card right here, and see how likely they would have been to be drafted if they were young men of draft age during the Vietnam War, which was another way of kind of making this very real for my students. Also, we had a list here of very of famous people and their lottery numbers. They knew Bill Murray at 204 and Sylvester Stallone. When I told them Rocky most likely would not have been drafted at 327, they got a little bit of a kick out of that. They couldn't help but notice Donald Trump as well, with that being all over the news lately. Al Gore, a few students recognized from An Inconvenient Truth. Bill Clinton, they saw there, 311. George Bush, 327. So very interesting activity for them. I also looked at some of the percentages of soldiers being drafted from different states and how many would not come home, and was able to ask the students with low draft numbers to raise their hand and then tell them how many of them were likely not to come home, which again made it very real for them when they looked around the room. One more thing I just want to mention is that when I post a story like this into Google Classroom, every single student gets their own copy, so they can type in their responses right into the file as they follow along with the text, whether I play the story over the speakers in the room or they read it on their own. So by the time they finish reading the story and we've gone all the way through this, they just go ahead and click the submit button, which would show up for them in the upper right hand corner. I can take a look at all the work they did through this short story. My battery's dying there. So that's pretty much it. It's an example of my interactive text with annotated questions.